and welcome to the AEW Dynamite review. I'm Adam Wilbourn from WhatCulture, joined by another one, Michael Sidgwick from WhatCulture. Here to review everything that happened on last night's episode of AEW Dynamite. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube, where we do daily wrestling podcasts where we not only review AEW Dynamite, but also AEW Collision, Raw, SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. Pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a roundup of the week complete with a bloody good quiz, of course, on WrestleCulture. As I said, though, joined by Michael Sidgwick to review last night's Dynamite. The go-home show, of course, ahead of the go-home show for Forbidden Doubt. That's what everyone's calling it.
No. Even when it was good, this show, outside of the first 15 minutes, which felt like proper episodic professional wrestling television, even when it was good, it was a little bit uninspiring.
Some of your pet peeves on this show.
To a degree, but also just, I've got very little to say, I think, about the matches, so I might as well go along on this broader thought. Couple of things, right? This party 8-man tag formula, I would describe it as critical acclaim doping.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it seems like every single week we get one of these 8-man tags, to the point when I saw the match graphic announced, I was like, ugh. I went like this. I went like this.
You're joking. Not another one?
Bored. And here's the thing. The Young Bucks entrance, which we'll get to, very funny again.
Mm-hmm.
I knew, using the rational part of my brain, there's going to be a sequence in here that's going to blow my tits off.
Mm-hmm.
There was a sequence in that match that blew my tits off. But it's critical acclaim doping of, you know you're going to get a good match, you know you're going to get a hot atmosphere. What truly are we accomplishing by doing this? I know what it is. It just feels very hollow. The first 50 minutes of this Dynamite felt like proper canon episodic TV. The remaining hour and 45 felt like Collision on a Wednesday to a degree. There were some nice little details sprinkled throughout. And here's the other thing, before I get into, I think the reason why I had a bit of a problem with an otherwise quite good Dynamite. Like, it just feels like, I forgot the other thing I was going to say. I'll get to the other thing. One of the reasons why, cast your mind back to 2019, when it was deep in the guts of Wednesday Night War time.
Mm-hmm.
And I preferred AEW, and my absent part-timer colleague, Michael Hamflett, preferred NXT. The reason why I preferred AEW is because, yes, there were certain experimental teething pain gimmicks that, in retrospect, were awful, that I might have even argued too heavily for at the time. Dark Order. I don't think I ever argued in favor of the Nightmare Collective, okay? But because the show was so well booked and intricate and, yes, deft, and there were certain things they did in, like, 2020 where I thought that ingenuity here, the ability to tell these stories, to weave these stories, to plant these details, for me to go back and went, oh, that's why that character said that, because it's going to inform this.
They're not lying when they say they had like 2 years of stories when they first started.
Indeed. And then just the level of detail was glorious. Absolutely brilliant stuff, right? And the reason why I adored Dynamite back then is because I said to myself, I can't book this. I wouldn't be able to book this. I'm not a particularly creative person anyway. I'm way more analytical, hence why I'm privileged enough to do this job. But I don't think I could book this TV program at its very best. It's just so well done. In contrast to that, I found NXT a bit of a piss take in terms of how quickly they arrived at certain matches, the easy, just unengaging route they would take to build TV matches. The key example I'm going to cite here was a wrestler would win a match. Their opponent for next week would come on the apron, appear on the apron.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't ejaculate. By the entrance, have we? And then they would have the stare down. It's like, oh God, epic bacon match next week.
Yeah, every week.
Every single week they would do that. At one point, and yes, you could probably cite an example of AEW doing something as bad around this time. But Kushida thought it would be a capital idea and a rip-roaring gag to steal the hat from Cameron Grimes. Yes, there were other stories, and yes, the Finn Balor scissors kick heel turn was pretty damn good.
Yeah.
But generally, I reckon I could have sat down on a Monday and booked a passable NXT. I don't think I ever could have done that with a Dynamite. I thought it was way more creative and just way more engaging as a result. I don't think I could have booked Hangman Page versus Jon Moxley or, some of the better recent AEW fare. I reckon I could book a Dynamite these days, and that's not where I want to be.
Copeland Christian reunion you could book.
Oh, But, just these relentless 8-mans.
Yeah.
And then for Collision, on the lineup is a 100K 4-way for the women's division. Like, that is slop, realistically. It'll be well-worked slop.
Yeah.
It'll be hard-hitting slop, but AEW is developing a little bit of slop about it in terms of just crutches. Just this easy, critical acclaim doping of, it's not particularly interesting. Yes, we've done it several times over the past however many weeks. Yes, there's a sense that every single babyface is mates with a babyface, and isn't it wholesome and wacky that these teams are working together? I could book a Dynamite, and I don't think that's good. It's just, it seems so easy for them. And this money, I don't disagree fundamentally, by the way, with the idea of having a match for a prize fund. It's like, there's a sporting element of that. If you want to sort of apply the world of football, if you're a striker and you're signing with a new Premier League club, sorry for the relentless football analogies, Barclays returns this weekend.
Yeah, we've got it on the brain.
Fever pitch. It's on the brain, indeed. Sign the striker, okay. And there's little clauses in their contract, right? Okay, if you score 15 goals, you'll get X amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
If you score 20, you'll get even more. Like, finances and money are a huge part of being an athlete. So it stands to reason why, a company that aspires to have the sports-oriented presentation would put that as a stipulation for a match. They do it way too often.
They don't have enough fun with it either. I want to see them the next week showcasing the result of their wins.
Indeed.
Especially if they're a heel.
Yeah, exactly. If they're a heel, you want them to wear something hideous, with the idea being that you can get money, but you can't buy taste and stuff like that. It doesn't happen anywhere near often enough. I just saw the match graphic and I thought, Christ, we're doing this again. I know I'm going to enjoy this, and I feel spoiled.
Yeah, there's nothing against the work in the matches, is it?
Yeah, this is the thing. I have remembered, actually, the other thing I was going to say, and it's ironic because I must have missed it on the lower third. Clearly, I went to sleep too early. I didn't go on Twitter and miss the announcement of this latest 8-man party tag. And I like the women's trios, and I wish that just got the chance to stand alone. Or the Young Bucks are coming to outclass it, basically. And then there was another trios in the main event, I was like, okay, I'm sick of it to begin with, let alone doing 3 of this match type. I think especially since, I am going to get to the good news, especially since Danielson retired, I think AEW's lacking a bit of range. That was always one of the big attributes. Again, better than NXT back in the day, even on its worst weeks, in my opinion, because they celebrated it was the buffet, they would call it.
Yeah.
It feels like it's got fewer dishes than ever in 2025. So 8-man tag, the women's trio was really excited about it, but I don't think it really necessarily got the time And then, we've got the Opps in a trios main event. Right, okay, cool. I'm sick of multi-man matches. Oh, look what the main event of Forbidden Door is. Jesus Christ. So even on a pretty drab, uninspired, repetitive cheat code Dynamite, there is still one thing on it that makes you grateful that the promotion exists.
I think I'm going to be higher on this show, but I do think this is tinged with quite a lot of bias. I will say this, because often I will let things slide with the Fed when it's in WrestleMania season, because it's like, oh, we're going. So, yeah, however they get there, I don't care, because I'll be there to see this on SmackDown or on Raw or on, obviously, WrestleMania or TakeOver or, Standard Delivery or whatever. There's a bit of that watching this show. I was like, I don't think I with the way timing's working stuff with the Sweet Chin Disco tour, I don't think we'll be able to go to the Glasgow Dynamite, but we'll be watching it and stuff beforehand whilst we're setting up. But I'm being lucky enough to go to at least some of Forbidden Door, what with it being in the same building that we're doing Sweet Chin Disco. So there's a bit of me that's like, would I be more critical of the way it's kind of been rushed, in my opinion, the Christian Cage Cope reunion thing, and they've given the reunion away rather than save it for, but I'll talk about why I think that is, rather than save it for All Out, for example. Yeah. But from a very selfish point of view, cool. I get to see Cope and Christian as a team and what have you, or I get to see, MJF and Seabiscuit or whatever it might be. So it's interesting. I'll be really intrigued to know, because I was looking a bit online about this, and the general consensus is obviously very happy with the show. But again,
I saw some pushback to this.
But again, with an eye on, like you say, similar a little bit to NXT this week of like, this show's happening, but next week's the big show that we care about. Next week's the go home for NXT. We're about like it one, don't like it this one, and they're in Philly for that one, and obviously next week for Dynamite they've put loads of stuff on ahead of Forbidden Door. So, well, let's get into it, because I want to get straight into this awesome first 15 minutes, as you mentioned, because the show kicks off with the star of the show, MJF, and then world champion Hangman Page is in there as well. They obviously brawled previously several times, let's be honest, but big one last week, and they were apparently under the threat of massive fines if they did it again here. And they get down to the ring, both of them, and they've got microphones, and there's MJF. Look at us, eh? Would have thought it, not me. Two homegrown stars, says MJF. The main character, the main antagonist. At least that's what you dumb schmucks call me, says MJF. Seabiscuit, I've known you for a long time, and I know you're most vulnerable when you're angry. That's why you lost. That's why you're going to lose your title at your first pay-per-view defense. And Hangman, as you anticipated, is a smart babyface, and he's like, you think you can sort of get me into giving this title shot? Well, you think you can break me? You can't even break out of your edgelord B-movie shiz, you dumbass. He didn't say shiz, he swore. I'm not going to make work for myself. Do you know how the story of Seabiscuit ends? He wins, dumbass. Nice pop for that. You don't have a chance at this title. You're not going to goad me into one. I told you from the beginning, you've got to earn it. You haven't. Or you have to look me in the eye and tell me that you are executing the contract. If you aren't here to do either of those, then you need to turn and leave, knowing you haven't got the stomach to do this. And MJF's like, you want to talk about a moral fiber? I'm the devil, right? Well, good and bad is a matter of perspective. I'm not the problem. Hangman's the problem. Because Hangman's the main character, and he did nothing wrong, right? They treat you like you're infallible and you're perfect. Well, screw you and screw your guy, he says to the audience. I learned the hard way when I got the stuffing kicked out of me that God is all-seeing and all-knowing, but that can't be good. But can't be good just like Hangman. Page isn't a god. He's a weak-minded, depressed, alcoholic little boy, says MJF.
He's still got it like, hasn't he?
Yeah. He says, cowboy, I don't actually have a problem being called the devil. I'd rather be looked at as that than being marched around as a false idol like you. I'm real, not like you, Hangman. At Forbidden Door, it isn't enough to get back my title. No. I have a point to prove. I'm going to take everyone. I'm going to take off the sheep clothing on this wolf. I'm going to uncast this spell live on pay-per-view. I'll take down your god, you cowboy. I'm going to crucify him, says MJF. Hangman still calm. They're getting in each other's face, but he's still measuring himself well here, Hangman says. Max, I understand the point you're trying to make, but you don't seem to understand that no one knows my faults like me. And as much as the fans have tried to look past it, I own them. I'm not going to run from them. And you're talking about Forbidden Door as if you already have a match. You don't. You have a contract for a shot anytime, anywhere, but you won't take that shot because you're afraid. You want backup. You want an insurance policy. You know you don't have what it takes to take this title from me. If you want this title, if you want their respect, then take your shot. You pride yourself on being a day one guy in AEW. You know it's all about taking risks. Sign the contract, put your name on the line, and prove that you are more than a gutless coward. And MJF is getting really riled up by all this. And Page is, telling him, take your shot, sign it, basically. And MJF loses his cool and says, listen, you son of a bitch, I execute my flipping contract. Page just looks at him. MJF realizes what he's done. Page says, I'll see you at Forbidden Door. Dumbass.
I thought this was really, really strong stuff. Two excellent verbal performances, the story they told, the characters, where they are at, the idea that MJF just cannot sanction that that Hangman Page is some hero because MJF believes he is in his own mind. The suspense of who was going to get annoyed first, which I think Hangman Page in particular did a really good job of because he snatches that microphone, he's getting really aggressive, but he's just not showing his hand. He's playing MJF by sort of suggesting that he's pissed off, he's at a 9 already, and then he's going to get the fine and et cetera, etc. But in fact, he's just playing a nice game of mental chess here. So I thought Hangman Page was excellent on the mic. MJF was as well. In terms of like the lines, the sound bites, the false idol, it's all good stuff, but you just got such a great indication of what an unbelievable manipulator of a crowd MJF is here. This is barely connected to like the story, but I just had such admiration for the bit where, so at this point, the microphone's been yanked out of his hand or like thrown down. So MJF doesn't want to pick it up. He instead demands off mic, because obviously he's not holding one. Can I have a microphone that this bum hasn't touched? The crowd pop for that because it's funny. And then he instantly says, when I'm talking, you shut up. Do you not get that? And it's a typical heel line, but it's when he delivers it because he does it just after getting the pop. And like, have you ever had it right when, and this is one of my biggest pet hates. It doesn't really happen anymore. It was just something that used to happen in school sometimes. I hate you if you've ever done this, by the way. When like, you just get like a fit of the giggles. And you simply cannot like suppress it at all. Have you ever had it when someone says something and you just laugh, but then something takes over and you just keep giggling and someone goes, oh, wasn't that funny?
Yeah.
Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah, absolutely. Pissing on your bonfire.
Yes. MJF pissed on their bonfire here. Like, oh, he made us laugh. It's like, shut up.
Yeah.
And there was like,
we're not friends.
Boo,
yeah.
Boo.
Yeah.
Really thought that was just sublime. And at this point, Hangman Page, there's no semblance, because he's too clever, there's no semblance of, when you would put that like super prefix in front of like Super Cena. Now there's the suffix of someone Hogan, Sammy Hogan, Rhea Hogan. Yeah. There is no danger of Hangman Page being too strong. In fact, because he's incredibly clever, the fact that he's a completely transformed, redeemed Hangman Page with complete confidence and security in himself, no longer has any self-doubts whatsoever. He's almost completed his character arc. At this point, this guy is so secure, so confident, like such a badass, that they've done this great job of building him as this like ultimate ace of all elite wrestling, that when MJF gets like a near fall and it's 1-2, it's going to be incredible. Like, it's going to scan as an achievement in their match at Forbidden Door to get a near fall on this guy who's just so all-conquering at the minute. There's almost a drama from establishing him as such like a powerful force.
Yeah, Sami Zayn, Sammy Hogan thing was nonsense. I saw it again the other day. But Sami Zayn is this like amazing underdog babyface. And in a weird way, Hangman's an underdog. But like you say, he's this all-conquering badass. But at the same time, yeah, he's this unstoppable world champion. And yet there's always still that brilliantly retaining that element of he's potentially, and I don't think they reference it and you see it occasionally in matches, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you doubt him for any second. But it's also the constant reminder that this also could be somewhat of a house of cards. Like, it could all come crashing down for him. It's not going to, but I like that, like you say, the sort of humanized element of it all, of like, all the stuff he's been through over the years has made him into this person that he is, which helps and sometimes hinders him as well.
No, absolutely. I thought this was excellent. This felt like actual proper episodic pro wrestling TV.
I love MJF. I'm backing MJF all the time, obviously, but I also did like the fact that it's like, right, my plan tonight is I'm going to go out there and, bait this little, millennial, cowboy into giving me what I want, with also a secondary title shot in there. And then he comes back through the curtain. He's like, how the hell did that happen? That was the one thing I didn't want to happen.
It's the one thing we didn't want to happen.
Yeah, great stuff. Then we see footage following this.
Can I say one more thing on this
go on.
as well? Like, is this the best first title defense on an AEW pay-per-view ever?
Could be.
Remember that? We used to do that.
Yeah. I think it's a fair assessment, by the way, because, normally, nothing against the guy. Again, all love for him.
Lance Archer.
Exactly.
You're expecting a Lance Archer type, who I would describe as AEW's significantly better Kane. The guy who's almost invariably installed as, like, the first boss,
You could buy MJF. I don't think he's going to, but you could buy MJF leaving Forbidden Door with a title.
Absolutely.
You could think, well, they've had a long time. It's also the sort of knowledge of being a wrestling fan. It's like, well, they had a really long reign with Mox, and they could hot potato it for potentially.
Yeah, and the wrestling fan brain of Hangman Page already has a win over MJF on pay-per-view this year.
And they're all out. It's a big show.
Yeah.
So we see footage from last week where the challenge for Forbidden Door was laid down by Darby Allin via Wheeler Yuta's forehead, effectively. And then we see the Death Riders outside the arena, and Mox swaggers in while saying, forget about anything happening at Forbidden Door, by the way. It's him versus Kevin Knight. Kevin Knight, quite rightly, does not just wait for the collar and elbow tie-up to start this match. Runs straight in, kicks him into the corner, stomps him down. Good stuff from Knight. Moxley obviously battles back with some strikes. Dodged a drop kick, tried for a Texas Cloverleaf, but Knight pushes him out the ring. They battle around the barricade. Moxley punches and pulls at Knight's head, hits it off the announce table, sends him into the... Knight comes back by sending Moxley into the ring steps, and Knight hits a drop kick from the ring apron to take over.
That looked really good.
It didn't it? They fight back in the ring, up the entrance ramp, and Knight dives off the entrance ramp, but Mox dodges it. Knight flies into the barricades, takes to a break. Fleurs Redding. They start trading punches when they come back from the break. Knight gets the upper hand, and then as a result, Mox bites that upper hand. Knight comes back with a drop kick and is like, okay, we're biting each other, fair enough. Knight throws some lariats and a scoop slam on Moxley and a splash. They climb to the top rope. Moxley twists Knight's finger, pokes him in the eye, but Knight comes back with a top rope superplex for a 2 count. Moxley hits a cutter out of nowhere, goes for a pile driver, but Knight reverses it and sends Mox into the ropes for a power bomb and a 2 count. Moxley bails, but Knight dives over the turnbuckle onto him. So I should mention, by the way, Yuta and Marine Shafir are obviously out there. So is Mike Bailey. And the ref, with all them out there, gets distracted. Yuta tries to interfere. Knight kicks him away and hits a pendulum DDT. Goes for a UFO splash off the top, but Mox gets the knees up and gets an inverted triangle choke. They sort of roll around in the ring. Knight can't get away and has to submit.
I like the finish. It felt like, the animals got, like in that nature documentary finish. And I liked how it was unusual of Mox to do that. Always campaign, always endorse, like a wrestler winning a match in a different way. Because if nothing else, you portray yourself as someone who's got a really deep sort of like bag.
Arsenal.
Yeah. And in addition to that, if nothing else, you're building a near fall, you're building drama in future matches. Because the next time I see Jon Moxley do that, I'll think... And, hopefully the commentators would remind me if I'd forgotten, he beat Kevin Knight doing that.
Yeah.
And then when the wrestler then escapes, it's something a lot of wrestling fans have wanted. They praised Cody Rhodes for doing it a lot at the time, in the middle of his AEW run. Otherwise, this at times just resembled somewhat pointless back and forth. Like, it's one of those matches, again, it's that AEW match where so few of them warrant true criticism. So few of them are genuinely not good. But a lot of them, by the same token, just feel a little bit back and forth for the sake of it. Very template matches. And I'm not saying that it wasn't wrestled well. I'm not saying that Kevin Knight didn't do a lot of good work to sort of justify his phases of offense, if you like, with the way he reversed or the fire that he showed or what have you.
Learning a bit from the Mike Bailey thing of like, I'll work my style, but I'm going to have to get in the dirt with him as well.
A little bit, yeah. It just wasn't exceptional, this, whereas the Moxley-Mike Bailey match last week verged on the exceptional. It was fine. It was one of those when you can tell, we did say on the preview that this should be really good. But maybe in retrospect, like, Tony Khan does get fixated on things. He does. And the idea of Mox going, we'll do the other member of Jet Speed. It's like, you kind of don't have to. I thought this would be good, not great. I wasn't doing cartwheels over it, and it was ultimately what I expected it to be.
So post-match, Bailey tries to help Knight out, but they all jump him. Yuta takes him down, hits some elbows. They send him out of the ring for Marine Shafir to just kill. Darby Allin's music hits. Out he comes with
you could barely hear it.
Body bag and a skateboard. And Knight drop kicks Moxley to the floor. Allen comes in, beats up Yuta, puts him in the body bag, goes up top for a coffin drop, but in comes Claudio to grab him, save Yuta from the body bag, gut wrench Allen into his own body bag, zip him up in there, chuck him up on his shoulders. It's such a weird
I love
visual.
this.
Chuck him around in the body bag.
Did the UFO, didn't he?
Yeah. Yuta grabs a chair, pulls Allen out of the bag. They put it around his neck. We've all seen this before, of course. But before they can finish him off, Will Ospreay's music hits. He runs down and takes out Yuta and Claudio and says, "Hello, John. You and your boys tried to snap my neck. So in return, I'm going to snap yours, you prick." He's got a better idea. You get your friends, I'll get mine. Meet me in London. A lights out steel cage match. The challenge is laid down. And there's a fist bump between Ospreay and Allen as the Death Riders get out of there.
Well, let's talk about this first, and then probably a good time as any to talk about the match that got made later in the night, because we're not going to be able to preview Forbidden Down.
Of course, yeah.
Because we're all kind of off, but we've got a lot of podcast content that's in the can.
Yeah, that works.
It does work. Yeah, I did it on purpose, obviously. There's some of them that we recorded where we thought that is good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That is good stuff. Look, I like the body bag stuff. I thought Wheeler Yuta did an excellent and entirely believable job of selling being in one. Like, it's a sort of thing where I would rather go through a burning table than be put in a body bag for an angle. Even though I know the script calls for me to get taken out of it within about 30 seconds, if not. I just can't. The idea of being buried alive, waking up in a coffin under soil, it's like my worst nightmare. It's like not a realistic one, thankfully, but it is my worst nightmare. And I loved Wheeler Yuta like violently thrashing around.
When they opened up, he was like,
yeah, like I think it's such a neat device to use in this sort of thing. Claudio doing the UFO is always incredible. I like the idea of the announcement. If you cast your mind back to late 2024, I think they mainly did this to just sort of alert the audience to, the big hitters eventually are going to come for the Death Riders, but we can't actually do that yet. We have to build and build and build and build this thing. Darby Allin and Will Ospreay had a backstage conversation on, Dynamite or Collision, saying to one another, look, I have to deal with Don Callis' family or something, but I will help you in this battle once I've finished with all that. So this all does tie together from last year if you've been paying strict attention.
I'm to mention the chat with Renee from later on in the show so we can talk about
We'll just get to that.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to be all over the place here. But one thing before I praise this match and the booking of it, I've already kind of done that. There's a lot of links to it. You know what? We'll just get there when it gets announced, actually.
Okay.
Because I've got something else to say. That thing's quite important. They have done a dire, abysmal job of promoting to the audience or rather not promoting to the audience that Darby Allin climbed Mount Everest.
Yes, I agree on that
I
one.
understand that, look, WWE would have done this way, way, way too much. But you could argue that that's more effective. Like, they would have beaten you over the head with it. You could argue, however, as annoying and obnoxious as that might have been, there's a reason why they do these things on occasion or all the time.
Mm-hmm.
The guy climbed Mount Everest. I don't know how exactly what you do with that information. Whether Darby Allin probably will cut a promo at some point about it and use it as an analogy, or say, I climbed Mount Everest. That was just, I did that as a hobby. That wasn't my bucket list. My bucket list is to win the championship. I've kind of got no doubts that he will at some point bring it up and apply it to his pro wrestling persona in a rivalry that he's going to be in.
Mox Darby All Out, perhaps, or something.
Yeah. It's just he seems like a guy in the show. He's done something that very few other humans have A, done, or B, would ever dream of doing. It's incredibly impressive. I mean, what are they doing? Not really telling you, this guy did this thing. I don't know. Maybe it'll come. It's just baffling to me. Sorry, just
checking my notes here. Just women's match in the first hour.
Praise be.
Remind me when we get to the end of this, because we're not playing Ladies' Night with no Hamlet here, but I read a very funny comment on our YouTube preview from yesterday that I want to mention. But it was the TBS champion, Mercedes. It was the TBS champion, Mercedes.
Moné.
The fingers you've used to press this soundboard are too fat, clearly.
Too ginger.
Then the members of the Triangle of Madness, Thekla and Skye Blue. You got it right in our game. You said Skye Blue, didn't you?
I did.
Skye Blue meaning Shirakawa, which was a long shot, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But when I saw this mention, I was like, there she is on the Twitter on last night against Alex Windsor, Queen Aminata, and one of our favourites, Willow Nightingale, of course. But before the match can start, it becomes timeless as Toni Storm appears on the balcony. But there is her challenger as well, Athena, on the other side, and they're gesticulating at each other. Back and forth early on, and then we get the showdown between another one of our favourites, Queen Aminata and Mercedes Moné. And the TBS champion actually gets picked up and slammed by Queen Aminata, who lays in some chocolate kisses. She isolates Mercedes in her team's corner. Windsor comes in for some side slams. Then Thekla and Skye try to get involved, but Alex fights them off. Moné kicks Windsor away, hits a lung blower, and they choke Windsor in the corner to take us to a break. When we come back, Willow flattens Thekla, and Blue jumps in to try and get some revenge, and she's just like, well, I'll finish you off as well. Death Valley Driver for you. Windsor comes in, headbutt to Mercedes, Blue Thunderbomb to Skye Blue. Moné and Blue get stacked up, and the babyfaces sort of run all over them. There's a cannonball from Willow.
Look brutal, that.
Didn't it? Willow drags Thekla to the middle of the ring, gets a 2 count. There's a hammerlock clothesline and a Russian leg sweep to Moné from Alex Windsor. She puts her in the sharpshooter. Moné's in trouble, but Blue manages to get the tag in amongst all this. Moné hits a backstabber to Windsor. It all kicks off here. Pounced by Willow to Mercedes. A tornado DDT to Willow by Blue. A headbutt by Aminata to Skye Blue. Thekla with a rolling elbow to Queen Aminata, but Aminata comes back with a headbutt. Everyone's down. Windsor rolls Blue up, but Blue comes back with a super kick. Hits the ropes, but Windsor picks her up into a spine buster and puts her in the sharpshooter for the submission victory.
I thought this was good. I was underwhelmed by it to an extent, not because of the quality of the work, but the time it was given. I reckon I would have loved 5 more minutes of this. It's rare that I say that about any kind of wrestling match these days, because I've tried to profess less is more if anyone's goddamn listening. But I just thought there was several. It's a bit harsh. A few more gears they could have gone up here to really, really build something and to give a showcase for a women's division that, while probably better than ever. In fact, there's no qualifier there. If you look at Toni Storm and Mercedes and how much depth they've got now with Aminata, Thekla, Windsor, Athena, it's like it is approaching stacked this women's division.
Almost enough to have a second match on Dynamite.
Yeah, almost. I don't know, I liked this, didn't love it, felt it had a few more gears to reach. It was a little bit cross that they didn't get the opportunity to do it, and I was also crossed as the night progressed because, I mean, it's the Young Bucks in an 8-man. If you're going to do a multi-person tag team match and the Young Bucks are in it, it's going to, by default, be better.
Yeah, you say it was a 4-star minimum, innit?
You know what I mean? I just wish, for the sake of both the show itself, which felt very samey by the main event, which was virtually impossible, in my opinion, to pay much attention to, right? For the sake of the show itself, which badly needed a bit more range, and for the sake of the women's division, who, you know, only get one women's match a week on Dynamite, really could have done with a showcase of like a really long, intricate, layered trios match where you really play with the possibilities of, right, who hates each other here, who could eventually have a really strong match, the history between, you know, Willow and Mercedes. For me, it felt rushed. They could have really told you, oh, there's a pretty deep history and lore between Mercedes and Willow. Did they barely touch on that? They might have mentioned it in passing on commentary, but, you know, they could have built that as a big one-on-one showdown, you know. Aminata and Thekla, it's always good. It's often always great when they're in the ring together. They didn't get this really prolonged time to spend in the ring with one another. A tease of like other matches to come. I mean, I know the priority was Windsor and Mercedes in this one. I don't know, man. This could have been so much more than it was. Can't fault the work.
No.
A lot of it looked brutal, frenzied, like really cool while it lasted, but it's just a symptom of where AEW, like a really unhelpful reminder. When this was like all-star adjacent, that in this company, then, now, forever, unless you're Tony and Mercedes, the true stars are in the men's scene.
Yeah, it is. I mean, at least they got to go before the Young Bucks 8-man. But yeah, a show with more multi-person matches than singles matches, and one of the 2 singles matches was kind of a joke match, let's be perfectly honest, which we will get into in a second. Before I forget, I want to mention this comment, because obviously we've been unable to play Ladies' Night for quite a few weeks with different absences and what have you. And hi to Gru the Wanderer on our YouTube comment section. Thank you to everyone who watches on YouTube as well as listens to the podcast. Gru writes, they keep having one guy missing from these AEW Dynamite previews, so their Ladies' Night predictions do not count. Guessing which WhatCulture Wrestling podcaster is missing from AEW previews is the new Ladies' Night.
1, 2, 3, 4, Hamf. It's going to be my guess every week. Where are you? Let's be having you.
So post-match, I mentioned before, Tony and Athena are in the balconies. They start brawling. Moné uses this as a chance to jump Alex Windsor in the ring, and Tony Storm and Athena fight through the crowd to come down to the ring. Moné's putting the boots to Alex Windsor. Athena and Storm find their way into the ring. There's another moment between Mercedes and Athena, who've got this weird sort of acknowledgement, this budding friendship almost, by enjoying kicking everyone's ass. But in amongst all this, Storm and Windsor take over. They turn the tables with elbows. And I need a bit of help, actually, with you, with what Tony Storm said post-match here. She said, you take the low road, we'll take the high road, and we'll do this in Scotland. I hope you're wearing something under your kilt, or I will bareback you all over Scotland. Take off your tits, and we'll do battle. And they dance in the ring, and Tony...
Tape up your tits and tan.
Yes.
Tango.
Tape up your tits and tango. Thank you. Tony Khan, the fastest booker in the West, has made the match official. But yes, I was...
He did it even quicker later.
I was confused. So there's going to be some sort of horse riding event in Glasgow next week with the bareback line, or?
No. Again, you've been tripped up by what is known as you should have learned by now, a double entendre. Sexual innuendo. Bareback is when you have... in all 3 positions, unprotected sex without a condom.
Got it. Quite the promise for next week. I'm excited for Glasgow.
All the positions.
All the positions. That's a really exciting match, genuinely, though. Love that as a setup for Forbidden Doubt, obviously. Following all this, Will Ospreay's there with Mrs. Jon Moxley, ironically enough, of course. Renee Paquette, he says he talked with Tony Khan, who's thrilled with his idea. And he made a phone call to an old bloke and asked him to come on over for one more battle. So on his side, it's going to be himself, Darby Allin, a few others, and the ace, Hiroshi Tanahashi. And Renee's like, you all right? You weren't supposed to be back and cleared for Forbidden Door. And he's like, yeah, I'm fine. I want to have a word with your husband next week, though, in Glasgow.
Indeed. I want to do a little mini preview of that match in particular later because, again, we don't have the staff to do a Forbidden Door preview.
We'll get
Sorry.
Then we got to the match that Michael Sidgwick was bouncing off the walls, looking forward to yesterday, and that is, of course, Cope versus Stoke.
Have they just changed it, Adam Copeland?
Yeah, I don't know. It changes every week, it seems.
Yeah.
Haven't changed his music.
Yeah, well, she changes how good he was, because it's always bad.
The rules are, well, by the end of this, I don't know what they are.
No, I don't know anything, man.
The rules are if FTR interferes, the restraining order they've got against Cope is null and void. Not sure if that's a legally binding precedent, but regardless. Big Stoke wants no part of this. He has to be carried and, thrown into the ring by security for this match. But he has a plan, and that is immediate shock and awe. A spear to kick things off, which he hits, sort of. Bounces off Cope, who feels nothing.
I will say before I forget, because I get the feeling I'm going to bury this extensively once you're finished talking. Stokely tried.
Yeah.
His physical comedy was very, very strong with this spot.
Yeah, when he realizes that I might be slightly outmatched here, he offers a fist bump to Cope, who...
His entrance was spectacular as well.
The doubling back. Of just, no, yeah. I don't want this. So,
I will say one nice thing about Cope. Like, he didn't lay it on too thick. So Stokely comes out. 2 security guards are literally dragging him, kicking and screaming to the ring. Cope's reaction was just of like, it looked like shoot mild amusement. He wasn't like doing that dumbass game face he puts on.
Give him to me.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
So he offers the fist bump and Cope just punches him in the face, grabs a mic. I knew you wouldn't like this. Throws him into the barricade, and he asks just some fan what he thinks of Stoke, who says he's short-balled and gets no hose. And Copeland...
What a joke. What a joke. Sorry if that fan, if you're not a stunt fan, listens to this podcast, but Stokely said that to make fun of himself last week. You've got to come up with something better than that.
It's a stunt granny.
It's a stunt granny.
You think those signs were made by the fans? They were handed out by the promoter. I need to rewatch that. The voice of Salem from Sabrina and the Teenage Witch, exposing all of wrestling secrets. Anyway, short ball, gets no hose. And Cope wants to know if there's any hose in the crowd.
Where's the hose at? Where the hose at?
And he finds a lovely lady and asks if Stoke has any chance with her. And she says, you for real? No chance. Come on. So Cope brings Stoke back to the ring, hits a spear.
Cope's tight 5. I think I would rather go and see the Undertaker's live show.
Hey guys, what's the deal with hose, huh? That's good stuff. More comedy routine on the SmackDown preview, of course.
Use that vein in his forehead as a mic stand.
What would his special be called on Netflix?
Oh, right, okay.
Okay, give it to me.
I was thinking Grit and Tit.
Oh.
Because he's trying to be a bit blue, but he's also got a big vein.
He's very gritty boy. What's the deal with hope?
5-second hose.
Oh,
That's it.
Pretty good.
Hang on.
comedy show that totally reeks.
Of?
Nah, it just reeks.
Ah, but it could be worse, couldn't it? It reeks of like, I'm not going to make you sweat. I'm not going to sweat, but... Sorry.
Reeks of
There you go.
So he beats him back to the ring.
That's my last one.
He
No, it's not.
no. He spears him, and FTR are out there. Come on. Leave him alone. He spears him again. Oh, back on the mic. What are you going to do? You going to come and help him? You're just going to leave him? Hey, guys, should I pin him? Huh? What do you think, huh? And he wants to beat him up some more.
Still thinking about hoes, man. I've got my mind on my money. The hoes on my mind.
FTR.
God. Oh.
FTR get
hoes in different area codes.
Where's he got them?
I got my hoes.
We get it.
I can get it.
You got it.
I get a vein going. I got hoes in different area codes. What does Edge say? You know, when he's like, just like riding around with some females.
I don't know.
I forgot the punchline. I don't know either. Oh, what was it?
I could see him saying that, actually. I forgot the
punchline.
punchline.
God damn it.
That'd be
Oh, no, I've got it. So Edge is like, he's on the prowl for hoes. Hey, baby, do you want to come back to that place? What was it? No.
So FTR can't take it anymore. So they get involved.
Isn't the fact that
It
AEW
got into a mess here, didn't it?
Yeah. What was the was there a sort of a set limit of the distance?
Yes. It was like I can't remember how many meters or yards or whatever it was.
Well, now that they're playing more intimate venues, it was more like 3.
Yeah.
So
it was the entrance ramp.
Yeah, which is now getting shorter by the AEW's better than us. Yeah, whatever. Just for just having laughs here, guys.
But they get involved to obviously put away the restraining order. Copeland takes him out, goes for a third spear on Stokely. Stokely throws powder in Copeland's face, and the ref's like, well, that's that. I mean, other people can get involved in this match, but powder is where I draw the line.
Yeah.
Calls for the bell, an FTR attack, hit him with a microphone, hold him up so Stokely can hit him.
Still thinking about whores, aren't you?
Oh, what's the deal with those?
It was a very funny visual of him just beating him up and walking around the crowd doing some where you from? What do you do for a job? I haven't got anything on that. So yeah, they're gonna finish off Cope when suddenly Christian Cage appears, but he's not alone. He's brought a friend, Spike, in his hand to chase off FTR. Nick Wayne tries to attack from behind with a chair, but Cage knocks out of his hands. There's a spear from Cope to Kip Sabian as well. And they sort of do that thing where they back into each other. Ah! Oh, it's you. It's face-to-face. The fans are imploring them to hug it out. They stare at each other. Christian hands Spike to Cope. Goes to leave. And Adam's like, come here. They hug it out. They reunite. And everyone's very happy to see these boys back together.
To deal with those. Oh, so my life ended my life there. You finished.
Yeah,
finished.
I'm done.
Yeah. So am I. Right.
That's the show notes. Hey.
Brief comment on the match. Stoke tried his best and emerged from this farce with a huge degree of credit for me. I will watch Stokely Hathaway next week and think, hey, you still all right.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of, you know what? Did you see the Dax promo from Collision?
No.
It was fantastic.
Was it?
And I need to praise Dax because I want to be fair and impartial with... He gives me the ick a little bit. We all know this.
Yeah.
You know how he's like... When he was the baby face, I fought for 3 things, God damn it.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter, my wife, and this bottle of tequila. He did this promo when he's talking about how much he wants these AEW World Tag titles again. I don't care about anything. I don't care about my brat daughter, my ugly wife. The only thing I care about is getting back these AEW World Tag Team titles.
That's good stuff.
One of the best subversions in recent memory. So, thoughts on this segment. Stokely tried his best. Everything else reeked ass. Cope doing like comedy. So you remember, here's the worst of it, right? You know how since WrestleMania 36, 1 month into this 5-year comeback, we were saying Edge used to be quite funny.
Mm-hmm.
Be careful what you wish for, because we've been saying for literal years at this point, longer than the Attitude Era, this terrible Cope run, just be Patter again.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm thinking, can you go back to that grit? Because this was not funny at all. So that wasn't good. This post-match angle with Cope and Christian, okay. Part of me wants to be generous, a little bit lenient, not about the quality of it, which is really not good, but like, why now, okay? Part of me thinks that maybe they just thought, this kind of sucks. There's no real way of convincing you that Christian Cage, who's just the nastiest piece of work in recent years, that he's suddenly a babyface. Let's just do it. Let's just tell you that he's turned babyface. Maybe go through the motions of not this full-blown, way, we're back celebration, but maybe they rushed it because they've realized internally within AEW, between all the parties involved, Tony, Khan, Cope, Christian, we're not going to be able to do this one, are we? Let's just do it. Mm-hmm. Let's just rip the bandage off. Like, realize that nostalgia will carry this over the line to the FTR match. We're not going to be able to do this, are we? We can't square the circle of Christian Cage being redeemed, considering the man he was. Let's just do it. Let's just do it and proceed, because we can't do this. I would like to think that was the intention. But even so, one, that's the lowest bar. I'm not excusing it. I'm just explaining it. Maybe that was the rationale here of, let's just do it. We're not going to be able to do it. Otherwise, we just have to do it. Doing the big emotional reunion 2 minutes after a comedy match, tonally a disaster. Like, surely when you do a big emotional reunion, a big babyface turn, you do not do it mere minutes after you've just presented like a comedy match. Surely this is rushed. Surely you do one, if you have to do it at all, and then the other a couple of weeks or maybe even a month later. Mm-hmm. Tony Khan does have previous in rushing the hell out of his angles, so maybe he just thought it was a good idea, even though demonstrably it wasn't. I would like to think that they've tossed around this ball a million times and thought, no, we can't do it. No, it's hard. And they just thought, screw it. Let's just do it and get it over with.
We have to deal with the Nick Wayne, Kip Sabian stuff. Before we get to the FTR match. The FTR match is set, one would assume, for All Out, maybe even perhaps with the tag titles being on the line, obviously, with FTR being in the final of that tournament, which I assume is next week, obviously. So, ipso facto, we either do that match on a Dynamite. Do we want to give away Cope and Christian on a Dynamite? We can at least do it on the pay-per-view
it's like
prior
a selling
to that.
point.
Yeah.
I've got no interest in this anymore. Like, it's weird. Like, I know we rag on Cope on this podcast, but my God, other than, and even then the novelty helped. When Christian first arrived, he was pretty dry. I'm going to win the world title. There was a glimpse where he's a bit of a dick to Kazarian, and it was like, that's you.
Yep.
And then he just became a really cool babyface whose work was really stellar. Like, the feud with Cope was good. It was a bit too reference heavy, but it was well done. Late 2023, a rare highlight of that year. But basically, as soon as Christian has re-entered what is now being called the Cope Vortex, it's the worst stuff he's been doing in AEW, like by some distance. Like, but then people, like, there needs to be a chat about Cope.
Hook's Batman. His symbol was shining in the sky to signify an imminent return, no doubt. And then we get this very fun 8-man tag, as you mentioned, Sid.
It was fun. I was really waiting for it to get good.
Pyro goes off. Commentary's like, someone pressed the wrong button. And then we just hear this voiceover that says, "Sorry, everyone. We don't have music for the Young Bucks tonight."
I understand you want to pop from that. I would have preferred it if there was just no music and they come out doing the whole company as, like, where is it sort of?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they walk out. The screens say Mr. Instant Replay and Slick Nick, another callback.
That was their, if you weren't aware, that was their names in the backyard promotion that they set up, like, really early into their youth.
The fans chant jobbers obviously at them, and I did like Justin Roberts as the other people start coming out and he goes to run through. Yeah, he got this all-star 8-man tag with Hologram, Brody King, Tomohiro Ishii, etc., etc. When he's going through the heels side, he says, "Joining these guys," just looking right at them, is of course Carl Fletcher and Josh Alexander. But yes, we're missing a person: Tomohiro Ishii, Hologram, Brody King, and Hiromu Takahashi. Don Callis had asked for New Japan to send their best, and they did here. And Fletcher and Takahashi kick it off. Nice back and forth. Young Bucks interfere. Hologram and King send the Bucks to the outside. There's a big brawl. Bucks super kick King. And then the ring announcer, Justin Roberts.
Love that spot.
He got allegedly fined $10,000 for super kicking it. Pay 20 and do it again. Funny.
Yeah. Pay 30 and do it 3 times, if anything.
Anyway, Hologram dives over the ropes onto everyone to take us to a break. When we come back, Fletcher hits a thrust kick to Brody King. Brody gets rolling, runs over everyone. There's a cannonball from Brody to Fletcher in the ring. He hits one of the Bucks out to the floor. But Josh Alexander attacks from behind. Fletcher comes in for some stomps. Takes a shot at Takahashi. That allows a big shot from King, who brings in Ishii. He just chucks Carl Fletcher around the ring, looks for a brainbuster. Fletcher reverses on the apron, but Takahashi grabs his legs, and that allows Tomohiro Ishii to clothesline Carl Fletcher from the apron. Gets chucked back in there by Takahashi. Ishii hits the running lariat. There's a 450 from Hologram, but Fletcher gets the knees up. Loads of super kicks from the Young Bucks. Alexander hits a side slam on the apron to Takahashi, and there's a TK driver from the Bucks to King on the stage as we go to another break. Hologram's in trouble, but he reverses the Bucks as we come back. Fletcher comes in, but Hologram gets him with a Spanish fly. Takahashi uses one of the Bucks to take out Fletcher and the other one to take out Josh Alexander. Flies around the ring, does Hiromu. He sets up Fletcher and Alexander for a lariat in the corner. Goes up top, gets distracted. Fletcher manages to catch him with a kick to the head. The Bucks jump in, more kicks from then. Fletcher hits a leaping tombstone, but Takahashi kicks out at 2. King gets back involved after obviously being taken out on the stage. He attacks Fletcher. Hologram dives onto a whole bunch of people. All hell breaks loose, basically, and the only ones standing are Josh Alexander and Hiromu Takahashi, who counters a C4 spike, hits the time bomb, and gets the 1-2-3 post-match. It's official. Carl Fletcher, Takahashi at Forbidden Door for the TNT title.
That's proper Forbidden Door stuff, in fairness. That actually warrants a placement on the Forbidden Door card, which, to be fair, I'm quite pragmatic about. I'm realistic about the idea of you can't be doing head-to-head dream matches when New Japan is in the state that it's in. Like, it's reached a point now where like this G1 climax that's been ongoing, I've not watched it, so I can't really fairly talk about whether it was great or not, but yet again, they've been getting a kicking online. Like, a kicking online. Like, it was time to replace Ghetto, like, several years ago. So New Japan just nowhere near what it was. So the concept is fundamentally flawed, but if there's anything left to it, this meets the brief. And again, this match, like, the announcement of, if they just kept this to once a month, and this applies to virtually any art form ever. If you just kept this as a somewhat semi-special attraction, I would anticipate it.
Mm-hmm.
I would feel probably way more hyped about it when it actually arrived. Because for the first 5 minutes, 10 minutes even, outside of that incredible spot on Justin Roberts, I pissed myself laughing.
I like the fact that Tony Schiavone just took over announcing duties.
Yeah. Because it was so... I've seen so much of it. It was just a blur of moves. Well-executed blur of moves at quite a nice pace. There was a point when it did reach that gear, and there was I think it was this sort of apron thunderstorm, if you like, of just violence on the apron. That was really well arranged, orchestrated, executed, obviously. But my God, I wasn't arsed with the idea of this match, and it took me way longer than it probably did a lot of people. I don't think the crowd was that into it for a long time as well. It wasn't the best audience, but maybe, they
popped for the surprise, obviously.
They popped for the surprise, not as loudly as you'd like New Japan, like that. But still, it really feels like I had that. It's a personal thing, so, I do have that existential crisis of aging and everything when the New Japan brand and its better wrestlers get paraded out on these AEW shows in 2025, and I'm like, 2010s was 5 years ago, bros. You know what I mean? It makes us feel old and irrelevant. I don't want to blame the crowd. There's two reasons why I think they were a bit flatter than they have been in recent weeks. One, barely anything was announced for this show. The week ahead when you got that ticket, you want to scour Twitter, has anything been announced for the show that I'm going to? Or has anything been announced that will convince me to get a ticket to the show? They're not at a fever pitch going into these Dynamites. So this Dynamite, given what little was announced, and when this comes out, you're like, it must have been quite fun for the live crowd, but you're probably thinking, I saw this on telly last week. With a few different names.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think it was probably a level below some of the better party matches this year. It was just a diminished return.
Yeah.
And I'm spoiled. That goes into it a lot. But
yeah, if we'd have gone back to 2018 or something.
Yeah.
Said you, by the way.
Aye, but it's just can we have a rule to not do another one of these after Forbidden Door for at least one pay-per-view cycle?
I mean, that's fair. Very excited about the all WCPW affair for the TNT title, though, of course. That's what everyone was saying.
They worked every other indie. No one said that. Every other indie that would have paid them at the time.
I'll tell you what, Carl Fletcher looks very different to when he was.
Oh, Christ! I mean, he's unbelievable.
Yeah. Whose house? Swerve's house. Swerve's out there with Renee. Although we can't hear. We can't hear them. So I thought of your face right now, and I was like, "Come on, guys,
not another one."
Taz and Excalibur, Phil, bangers. But when it gets working, Renee asks Swerve if he's medically cleared for Forbidden Door. He says, look, we're all hurt, but there's going to be nothing to stop me from winning that unified title in London. Fans don't want him to stop either. Okada comes out, and he says, Swerve, with that knee, you've got no chance. You might as well give up now. Whose house? Asks Swerve, and Okada says, okay, bitch. And they get into it, with security having to separate them.
Catchphrase duel. That's weak build for a match. I thought Swerve's promo was tremendous last week, but this was very much there's nothing to this whatsoever. The most basic Okada's wrestling next week on TV build to what's meant to be a massive pay-per-view match for a title that it is being communicated to the media is going to be almost on par with the world. Doesn't feel like that.
No, I think that's fair.
This segment was just really weak in general, and again, I don't.
It's not like they said, we can't have a week going by without Swerve or Okada being on the show, so let's just do this.
Yeah, but there's nothing really of substance for them to do or purpose. And because there's no preview's dick to step on, they already had middling chemistry as evidenced by their Dynamite match last year. Okada's pacing in a limb match. Obviously, he's going to be working over a knee the entire time. I've got a feeling this is going to be, these two, even if they have no chemistry, neither man is capable of putting in a dud of a performance. I think it's going to be real flat. this match. With the story beat that they're telling you that they are going to do, combined with this pretty weak build, it's I don't have particularly high expectations for it.
You know who does have great chemistry? Swerve Strickland, Prince Nana, and Sweet Chin Disco. They're going to be at our after parties.
Not ours. It's not affiliated with WhatCulture.
Or as in Sweet Chin Disco's after party following AEW
Are they
Dynamite.
sponsoring this podcast?
AEW Dynamite in Glasgow. And
I'll take that as a no.
After Forbidden Dow, an amazing after party. Not only them, but Nigel McGuinness is going to be there. And who knows who else might show up too. If you want to get your tickets right now, dice.fm, along with a whole host of WWE after parties as well. Can't wait. Cannot wait.
I'm
Less than
sure
a week
you'll have
to
a
go.
great time. To be fair, I've been to them.
Yeah.
Everyone who goes is mortal drunk, having the time of their life, screaming the songs at the top of their head.
Yeah. And that's not just Mercedes Moné who showed up last year.
Yeah.
That was a wild backstage to walk through, because suddenly it'd be like, oh, hello, Leo Rush. Yeah. And then, thanks for coming, everybody. Good night. What are you doing here, Action Andre? It's finished.
So Fox is here. I will say,
hey guys, what's the deal with Flaxus? Huh?
Swerve is massively over in the UK, which will help the match a lot. Depending on where it is in the card, by the way. If they put this like 6th and it's an Okada working a knee over match, this could struggle, you know. We'll see. Calling
it right now. Official after party for MJF's title win at the Indigo 2 on Sunday. Join us. Do you know what did make me smile was this next segment. It was funny in and of itself because the Young Bucks are in the extras locker room, but it reminded me of the bit that we took the piss out of a couple of months ago. Do you remember when the Young Bucks went to go in their locker room and the lights were off and there were the Death Raiders waiting in the jail?
I remember that, yeah.
So it's like a role reversal of this.
This is funny, though, being in that room specifically.
Because, Mox has asked if he's got some teammates for Forbidden Dow. Needs more people, obviously, along with the Death Riders. And then he's a bit like, we've got who? And Tanahashi gets mentioned. But yes, they're in the extras locker room where the Young Bucks are just drowning their sorrows. Mox closes the door to tease a potential union with the Bucks.
And then it was made official, 2 minutes later? Seriously, was it?
Yeah, I was going to say, back from commercial.
Quick chat.
Back from commercial. A lot of water under that bridge. Yeah, they announced for Forbidden Dow, Copeland Christian versus Kip Sabian and Nick Wayne. And it will be, Will Ospreay, Darby Allin, Hiroshi Tanahashi, Kota Ibushi and Kenny Omega in a lights-out steel cage match versus the Death Riders and the Young Bucks.
So basically, that took, 3 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
So Moxley's gone in, closed the door behind him. The framing of the setup was like, it's a tense conversation because we've aligned in the past similar values.
Helped you retain the title against
Swerve. The title. We went to war with you at Anarchy in the Arena. We don't get along on the same page. So you'd expect this to be... there's confidence on the deal happening.
Mm-hmm.
And that, this sort of deal can happen quickly.
Mm-hmm.
They're not exploring bids or, that sort of thing.
So what you're saying is you need Jon Moxley to start negotiating Newcastle's
transfer. Absolutely.
In the table, 3 minutes, job done, see you later.
So 3 minutes of hope that the deal can be finalised, but there's still work to be done on the deal. 3 minutes later, here we go! Here we go!
Sergio Romano's there, bursting out of the locker room.
Yeah. So the fact that I have a somewhat tense chat, resolution of, we'll do that. Tony Khan's then Jon Mox, right, sorry, little timeline here.
Go on.
Tense chat, agreement close, here we go.
I like how in your head, sorry, I've never ever read the tweet from Fabrizio Romano and done here we go in Super
Is it not an intentional Mario reference?
In Super Mario's voice, but maybe it is. I think
it is.
I personally have never done it, but I think that's really funny because I've never ever thought about it that way until you've done it right there.
I'm going to do it all the time.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Is it not let's go though?
Oh,
Let's go.
Let's go. It's a me.
So maybe.
Fabrizio Romano.
So we'll then get to the point in this 3 minute timeline.
Yes.
Of Jon Moxley. Maybe he doesn't have to clear anything with the Death Riders. So we'll skip that step.
Okay.
He then has to either walk to Gorilla, where Tony Khan is, or ring him up. Tony Khan then has to go to his graphics team. And
who are packing the stuff away. The show's nearly over.
Yeah. Go to his graphics team to say, can you make the graphics?
Packing what stuff? The computer.
Yeah.
That one computer.
All in 3 minutes. All in 3 minutes has happened.
Also, just to let you both know, it's both Let's Go and Here We Go.
There we go.
He has 2 catchphrases.
Thank you.
Would you believe? Probably more than that, but in that specific arena. So maybe that is the case.
Yeah. Completely broken my brain with that now.
Yeah, I've never read the tweets like that before, ever.
I'm sure...
You're probably right. My brain's just never done
I'm
it.
sure it might be a
in me, it's
reference.
always, here we go. Like,
Yeah.
rub your hands together type vibe. But that
Here
makes
we
a lot.
go.
That makes more sense.
Right, I'm going to preview this match now.
Go on.
I'm scared. Now that means I'm excited. No, but I'm worried. So I did see some tweets, right, along the lines of diverticulitis Kenny. Everything has happened 5 times to Tanahashi and 20 times to Ibushi. Darby Allin somehow is in the best nick. Ospreay's neck is fucking neck. Not in the best place by his own admission. What a goddamn babyface team that is, though. Jesus Christ. If you go back, because these wrestlers know exactly when to do something and when to kind of lurk in the background, Kenny looked the most like the Kenny of old in Anarchy in the Arena compared to his matches, his match against Okada, because he doesn't have to do that much, really. He gets smoke and mirrors, you know? This is some broken people or some thrashed people or people who are half injured picking their spots, doing 1, 2, or 3 wild things as opposed to a pretty arduous 20-25 minute singles match on the card. So it seems someone described it on Twitter as the most please don't die match of all time.
Yeah,
which is a really cool way of putting it. But as I said, they'll pick their spots. There are going to be 10 people, obviously not on the apron. If they were on the apron, it would be the most nonsensical thing of all time. 10 people in that tall cage that's close to the ropes. Ospreay himself said, maybe foreshadowing something like surely Tanahashi, after taking 4 months to climb the cage, is going to do a high five flow onto the field of bodies below. Someone's not going to lie on the mat and he does it. He's going to do it onto the bodies, which made me somewhat concerned. Is it going to be a lot of turn taken where there's like 9 bodies in this small cramped ring, one person does a jump off spot, and then like they'll do 5 in total? My concern is that this could look quite contrived and very like contained. Do they decide to do... They're not going to put 2 rings in there. Obviously, they've got a load of tickets to sell. Not many, actually. It's
doing really well.
There's no point in changing the configuration to do a... So it's going to be a steel... Is it time to just do AEW Hell in a Cell but call it their steel cage? You know, the similar principle to how their ring is 20 by 20, but realistically, between the ropes, it's a lot smaller because they have that apron to play with. Should they just call their steel cage match a steel cage match, but build it with the same structure as Hell in a Cell, but maybe without a roof? Because the way AEW matches go, they always do outside stuff constantly.
Yes.
I worry. It's time to build a Hell in a Cell-like structure for this match specifically. There's a lot of bodies in there. A lot of bodies. How's that going to look?
It's going to be that babyface team is outrageous.
It looks so awesome. I hope that they make the cage a lot wider. It's got the chance to look pretty clunky and indistinguishable, and a lot of bodies in there to maneuver around. I don't know. It was just a 10-man AEW steel cage just feels like it can't work. Obviously, I trust these 10 to do it. Obviously, there's geniuses in there, but We'll see. But again, just the idea of it happening is like, it's delirious, isn't it? I love it.
Main event of the evening.
Barely paid attention.
It was a trios match, the trios champions, the Opps. Great to see Samoa Joe back. So it was Joe Shibata and Powerhouse Hobbs versus LFI, who were represented here. Sorry, Sidge.
That's all right.
By there's Roosh there. There is Dralistico, and no, it's gone.
Oh, so I'll help you out, buddy. I'll help you out this jam.
Thanks.
The Beast, Mortos.
So yeah, great to see Joe back in there. Hobbs and the Beast kick us off, and he brings in Joe versus poor Dralistico. Joe looked great back in there. Beats him up in the corner with punches. It's a running kick. Shibata comes in, snapmare. He kicks Roosh off the apron. But Shibata gets jumped from behind. LFI get the Opps off the apron, and they just batter Shibata. Triple drop kick to take us to a break. When we come back, Mortos covers Shibata for a 1 count, who brings in Roosh. Shibata gets whipped into the corner, does the stomps. Fake does the old fake out. Just scrapes his face and does the tranquilo pose. And then there's a great sort of neither of them want to back down between Roosh and Shibata, just laying in shots to each other. Shibata grabs Roosh, hits an STO. Hobbs and the Beast get back in. Dralistico comes in. Hobbs just manhandles both of them. Mortos runs into a spine buster from Powerhouse Hobbs. Covers, but Dralistico and Roosh break it up. Joe gets the tag. Puts Dralistico on the apron, hits a forearm. And Dralistico jumps back into the ring, right into Joe's coquina clutch, and submits Dralistico.
I think Dralistico took a sweet-ass time. Your Dralistico, mate. People have, like, instantly folded in that coquina clutch, so maybe just...
Yeah, but...
he's always there, 49 steps ahead, Dralistico. What a second match on Collision ass Dynamite main event this was. Show just went on the air with the baby faces happily celebrating. What? That wasn't good. Why was this the main event?
Yeah.
I didn't think much of the match. Again, like, yeah, some of the moves exchanged were done well. Like, it's cool to see the Opps be hard. I didn't feel anything. It was one of those where it's like, by the time they all made it to the ring and the ring introductions were made, we're looking at 9 minutes, which if this was second on the card, I'd be, oh, yes, brevity at long last. This just, I just felt like a rushed main event with it being in this slot, you know? And I'll tell you one thing as well. Do not ever again put Samoa Joe and Roosh on the same match graphic and have them barely interact. What are we doing here?
Yeah, that was annoying.
What are we doing here? We're just... forgettable collision-ass match this was.
Wasn't the last thing on the show, of course, because as we are wrapping up, because I was a bit like, sorry, we're having 3 minutes of the celebration. Fantastic to see Joe back, obviously, but I was like, this is a weird way to conclude this show of just like, yay, we won the match that we were quite clearly going to win as it's Joe's return. But no, as the show's wrapping up, Renee, ever the worker, trying to get one more interview with Hangman Page as he goes to leave, but before he can answer a question, he's jumped from behind by Maxwell Jacob Friedman. He bounces his head off some cars in the
I'll level with you. I stopped watching the show and thought that was the end.
He bounces Page's head off some hoods of cars in the lot and says, remember when I promised to break you? You haven't seen nothing yet. And he leaves him laying just slumped against a car as we wrap up this Dynamite.
So MJF tweet that and wonder what he was talking about. I'm sorry. That's terrible of me.
Well, guess this show's finished. I think I've done that before. What was it? Oh, I missed. You remember Rollins's, what was it? Was it Backlash? You know, when Reigns was, this is like years and years ago. Reigns is like the babyface champion. I think he's just defended against Styles. Rollins comes back.
Extreme Rules it was.
Extreme Rules, thank you. I was very much sick of like, it was a good match, wasn't it, if I remember, against Styles at Extreme Rules?
Yeah, those two had a couple of good
Yeah.
They had a great
Roman and
series,
Styles.
them two.
But it was like, we all know what's happening here. It's Roman
I don't know,
Reigns.
Jeff.
I was like, we all know what's happening here. He wins. And I'm like, yeah, very good. I just turned it off. And I was like, what do people make of that then? Twitter. Oh, Rollins came back. Let's put him back on. You're just like, well, that's Dynamite for me.
Sorry, but that's generally terrible, that. Sorry.
But yeah, MJF has a ploy, clearly.
Yeah.
Going to make his life a living hell. Excited. But let us know your thoughts on Dynamite and the road to Forbidden Dow in the comments section.
Forbidden how?
Yeah, and yeah, let us know what. No, I'm not going to say it. Let us know your thoughts on everything in the comments section below. Or on X at WhatCulture WWE. Where actually you can follow all three of us. You can follow Michael Sidgwick at
M. Sidgwick.
You can follow our producer Adam Nicholas at
It's Adam Nicholas.
And you can follow me at Adam Wilbourn. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE, as I said. Make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling, wherever you get your podcast from, for daily wrestling podcasts. But for now, it's been the Dynamite Review. My thanks to Michael Sidgwick. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.